Good evening, our viewers at home. And this is us. We're back again today for another episode. Very interesting one. I promise you, it's going to be very interesting. Good evening to London, New York, Lagos, from wherever you're watching tonight. Good evening to you, Tobore.
Good
How are
evening.
you?
Very well, thank you.
Good evening, Eni.
Evening.
I want to try to pronounce it right. Eniton. Did I get it right?
You did. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. Good evening, Ngozi. How are you?
Good evening, Jude. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys, albeit virtually. But it's
Yeah.
nice to meet still. Great. Today, we're discussing raising kids in the 21st century. Or how do we raise our kids in the 21st century? Is it any different from before? But before we go, we're asking our viewers, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and do share this video on whatever platform you're on. This is a very interesting topic. We've got on the platforms, every one of us here, we're parents. So we have children, 3, 2, 3. Yeah, I think I got the numbers right. I almost forgot the date of birth of my children, but it's fine. So get ready as we rock on. But before we go, I'm going to call on our panelists to introduce themselves. So Tobore, I'll come to you first. By the way, I love the yellow you're wearing. I think I got the color right because I'm very bad with colors.
Thank you very much.
I understand you run a project in Nigeria or organization in Nigeria called Nigerian Child Protection Trust. Do you want to tell us about it very briefly before we go on, and about you and the work that you do with children?
Okay. My day job is as a workforce planning manager here in the UK, but I also run this foundation in Nigeria, which I started about 4 years ago because of the number of cases of abuse I was seeing. And I was just tired of just writing ooh and ah as comments on Facebook. I tried to do something from my end, something little. So I started this. So I'm a signpost because most people, when they are abused, they don't know where to go to. So what we do is we help signpost people to the right places that they can get help. We help victims of domestic abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, any sort of abuse. We help women. We rehouse women that have been abused. We also help pay for life-saving surgeries, emergency C-sections, things that if we do not step in, people might end up losing their life. So we help alleviate poverty and help alleviate suffering for the Nigerian child and the women, their mothers. Yes.
Fantastic. So all of this you've just mentioned or told the audience or told the viewers, you do them here or you do them in Nigeria for these people?
So yeah, I live in the UK, but we do them in Nigeria. So I have contacts on ground who help me make sure that we are helping the right people and getting the funds to the places that they are needed.
Great. So the funds, the rehousing they're getting rehoused. All of this is happening.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Eni, I'm going to come to you. I understand you're a fitness guru and you've been trying to link all the fitness enthusiasts all over the globe. Tell us about yourself and what you do and how you came about the idea.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Eni. Good evening, everybody. Yes, in my day job in the UK, I'm a brand manager for a pharmaceutical company. I do pharmaceutical marketing. I started cycling about 7 years ago because I had a cholesterol test and they told me my cholesterol was high and my doctor was so keen to try to keep me onto an anti-cholesterol drug. And I was like, actually looked at myself. I told my dad, and my dad was going, "You're out of your mind. You go exercise. You're getting a bit tubby," So I just thought, yeah, I'm not eating well. I used to smoke at the time. I drink a lot. So I just thought maybe I just need to change my life around. So I basically started exercising. A few things didn't really work for me. Didn't really like the gym. Too many very fit people in there. Just didn't work. So we moved to Essex, and I just saw loads of people on their bikes. So I bought a bike. And then as I sort of started enjoying the cycling, I realized that whenever I see people wearing very nice kits and I want to buy the same kits, even though with my size 30 waist, I have to buy extra large because it's designed for an Italian person that big. So I started designing my own kits. It took me about 2-3 years, but really came to the forth in the last 18 months. I'm really quite happy to say that it's going really well. So far, so good. And yeah, that's basically me. And obviously in that, I still have a full-time job of being a dad, a husband. It's the usual thing. So yeah, we'll get into it.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ngozi, I'm going to come to you. The
Hello.
last, as they say, but not the least. Okay. Moms on a mission. This
That's
is
right.
across countries and continents. Tell us about it.
That's right. That's right. My name is Ngozi, and I have three children. My day job is an accountant, but then on the side, actually, it's not really on the side. It's part of my life. Is that I'm a mom of three children, and Moms on a Mission came about where my friends and my sisters and my aunties around me, we talk about our children all the time. And we thought, you know what? We'll come together. It's a platform for us to be able to discuss these issues and also be able to share that with other mums. Actually, not just other mums, other parents. And in that, other parents can also share their own tips, share their own ideas. So we have conversations on Instagram, we have meetups, and it's really a place or an avenue for other parents to come along, share your ideas or learn new ideas. We're on
I, li-
Instagram, by the way.
I like that. I think one of the questions we'll be dealing with later, you've touched something, you've touched on it briefly, so we'll come back to that. Okay, here we go. Raising kids in the 21st century, fun or hard work? I'm going to say, uh, hmm, okay. Child protection people are watching me on this panel. I don't want them to say, oh. I'm going to say it's a mixture of both. Sometimes it's really hard work. But I'm going to say no one gave you the blueprint on how to do it. Annie, I'm coming to you first. You're a parent. I believe you're from not a single parent. So you have your wife is there, your children are there. Is it work or is it hard work or is it fun? Is it play? What is it about? Raising children in the 21st century and in London or England.
For starters, it's rewarding because it's a blessing to have
Rewarding.
kids. It's a blessing to have kids. I think first and foremost, that's probably the most ultimate thing, really, to be honest. Go forth and reproduce is the message, isn't it? Everything else we do it's not the most important thing. The rock really is the family, right? Yeah, it is challenging, but without a shadow of a doubt, it's really rewarding. There is some excellent things about having your kids in the 21st century, living in England.
I see you smile. It's like you're hiding
I am.
something. Come on, tell us.
No,
Spill
no,
it.
no, no. I'm really one of those people who just try to. I look at the bright side of everything, right?
Yes.
You've got to be kind of really optimistic about these things. Do I like my children being raised in the 21st century in England? Yes, I love the opportunity that it provides them living in a Western country. Those of us of my generation, lots of my friends, we were all born here, but we went back to Nigeria. So our culture and our sort of understanding is a bit different. If I call my kids now to say to them, goes like, what's the first thing they're going to say? Oh, my jabba, because literally that's what I say to them all the time, because, no spatial awareness, no nothing, because it's Western world. They can't climb trees. They always get hurt.
Oh my God, climb
Do you know
trees.
what I
I
mean?
couldn't climb trees
They
either.
can't do anything. They go to poop, but they come back. There's cuts all the time. They're thinking like, gosh, we used to play football in literally the worst places, and we come out and like as if nothing ever happened, But ultimately, it is a challenge because the external factors, you can protect them at home. You can give them that cultural understanding, that drive that you got from your parents of trying to be the best all the time. But when they go to school, they are released into the world. And the world is not the way it was when we grew up. It's basically the world because, in an average classroom in the UK, there's people from 16 nationalities in an average classroom. So, the cultures and influences of what they get is really quite challenging, but it is rewarding because they get to learn a lot of stuff that we don't know. So when we were growing up, did we even know that there was a country called Latvia, Armenia,
Oh my gosh,
Azerbaijan?
what? Did somebody tell you my wife is from Latvia?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh.
No. So what I'm saying is, because when my kids come back and they know the capitals of those countries and they know some of those
Yeah,
intricacies
yeah,
about those
yeah.
little countries, and he goes, "How did you know that?" My friend Alex experience is from
Oh
Latvia. I'm thinking,
yeah, oh
that's
yeah.
quite cool. So they're already like world children, even though we didn't really take them to the world. The world has literally come to them. So yeah, it is great. I mean, do I like the African mentality? Yes, I do. But, we don't live in Africa and we are all products of our environment. So you have to take the best of everything and sort of try and weed out the bad things that you can and protect them from as much as you can. And the reality of it is, it takes a village, but I'm kind of lucky. We chose to live next to lots of family around us so that it's not just us, the direct parents. Uncles are there, aunties are there, making sure that everything is kind of nicely going to plan, and we try our best to make sure that we can spend as much time with the kids as we can, to make sure that we know what they're thinking, what they're doing, and really try and imbue some real good values in them, because that's really what it's about. It's not really always about the educational powers, the sports powers. It's really about the values, and kind of reminding them that they're here for a reason, to contribute to the world, to make it a better place, and
Fantastic.
really try and imbue that kind of stuff in them. And they get a chance to do that because the TV, the light is there. You can get them to watch the right programs, take the ones you don't want them to watch, and explain to them why they shouldn't watch those kind of programs. And hopefully they kind of take your word as gospel.
Thank you very much. You touched on a lot, though. I think you touched on the mixture, because I was going to ask, but you've already touched on it. You were born here, but you were partly brought up in Nigeria or Africa. So a mixture of both. It's like both playing in how you raise them. And you've touched on, it's almost like it's a blessing that they're born, or you're raising children this time, because of the many options and the choices and the people they get to mix up with. You spoke about their friends from different countries of the world. So there's so much there. But in all of that, you're guiding them. We'll come back to some of the things you touch. Tobore, I'm going to come to you, your mom. Is it fun or is it hard work?
It's mixed. I love it.
Mixed.
I love it, but sometimes it really is hard work. Sometimes I want to cry. And I think it's okay to cry. I think some of us, you feel like maybe you're a failure if you cry, but I think at some point you should pat yourself on the back, but also know that, yes, when you struggle, you can also ask for help. I love my babies. They are everything to me. I love spending time with them, getting to know them. And I think growing up, I grew up in Nigeria. I left when I was 16 and I moved to the UK, and I've been here so 24 years now. So growing up, I said to myself, I would like to spend more time with my kids, because my mom worked a lot. So I said to myself, oh, I'd like to still work. I'd like to be a boss like my mom. But at the same time, I want to spend more time with my children. And I want them to be really open with me. I want them to be able to tell me anything. I said, I want them to respect me, but also be able to open up to me. And that is what I really try to foster with them. So I let them know, if mommy says no, it's no. But at the same time, you can talk to me about anything. So some of the conversations we have, when we're having them, I'm smiling inside me thinking, you dare not have this conversation with my mom. But I try to let them understand why I say some of the things I say. And I also let them experience the consequences of their actions, so they see why they should listen to me. So it's not just mom said no, so it's no. No, sometimes I'll say, I've said no, but you can do it if you like. But then when it goes wrong, remember that I actually advised you. So I want them to be able to know for themselves that actually maybe I should listen more to mom, because she's right most of the time. So yes.
Yeah, fantastic. I think the Bible said, do not spare the child the rod. That's what the Bible said, not me. The Bible said that. So I can quote the Bible. Yeah, you see, I started with, we weren't given a blueprint, but it's almost as if, from what you've just told all of us now, it's almost as if we were actually under the blueprint, because you said your mom worked. And from that, you deduced that I want to spend more time with my kids, but I will work. I want to spend more time. So that's almost a blueprint was handed to you. Maybe I should stop saying they didn't give us a blueprint. They did actually give us a blueprint of, okay, we want to do it the same way they did it, or we do not want to do it that way. Yeah, I think you touched on another very important thing. It's about a dialogue. Can be very difficult. You want them to be able. I hope my children, they're watching this downstairs with their mother. I hope that's what I am to them, because it can be scary with a beard and all of that. Some children see me, they run. So, and some children, they look at me on the train. I go, I do it on purpose. Sorry, children. I'm just having fun. So I hope I'm approachable, because back home, you give your dad the food or your mom the food, you walk away, you back up, you go very far to the next room until they call you, Jude. And you think they're calling you to give you a piece of meat. No, they actually call you, get me water, you forgot, on your head. So great. So all of that is part of the blueprint I think they handed us. So we'll come back to touch on some of the issues you've raised. Ngozi, I'm coming to you. It's the same question. Raising kids in the 21st century in the western part of the world, is it hard work or play or fun?
Oh, thank you, Jude. Listening to Eni and Tobere talk just now, I picked so many things that I relate with. By day, like I said, I'm an accountant. By night, I've got these three wonderful human beings that I mother. For me, the parenting journey is a journey.
Mm.
It's a journey of, I don't just want to cry, I cry sometimes. Sometimes I'm happy, I'm elated, I'm very happy with the actual journey. Other times the challenges come hard and fast, and I think, how am I going to get through this one? How am I going to get through this? My husband and I are hitting each other and saying, oh God, hitting walls together, and we're saying, okay, what next? Because our children are of different characters. You know, we've got complete extreme characters. One's calm, the other one's a sociable person, and the other is a mixture of the two. So having to deal with the three different characters and then teaching them, you know, I will give quite a few examples in the show, but three diverse characters and having to teach them the values that we want to teach them and getting them through to them. You know, I have a mixed background. I was born here, but then went back to Nigeria for 5 years and then came back into the system here. Then when I got married, my husband's from Nigeria, we then went back to Nigeria for 5 years with our children because we wanted them to understand the Nigerian culture. We didn't just want to tell them, we wanted them to experience it, but not just experience the culture, but see the way different people were living and understand sometimes when we say certain things to them, they can actually relate because they know that actually back home, back in Nigeria, this is the way it works, you know, so they can understand. There's minimal things that I say now. The look, I give them the look, they know the look. I look, I say one word in Yoruba, they know the word, you know, but those are the things that they've picked up over time with my children. So for me, the whole parenting journey is definitely a mixture of rewarding and challenges. Yes, you know, it's a blessing to have children, no doubt, no doubt. It's a real blessing to have children, you know, and it's one that I pray for everyone to experience because definitely it makes a change and a difference to your life. But the actual journey of parenting in the 21st century, oh my God, is something that I'm glad we're talking about this evening.
Do you think, any of you think, this, I'm throwing this question out there, so any of you can go for it. Do you think our parents had it easier? Because we keep hammering on the 21st century. You think they had it easier with raising us, or do you appreciate them more now, having experienced it yourself and looking back, you'd be like, wow, my mom and dad, they did really try. What do you think? Any, go for it.
Oh, so I'm not a comparer of errors. They did it the
Okay,
way
okay.
they did it the way they know
That
fit.
way, okay.
They did it the way they see fit. So
Mm,
everybody's obviously, like I said, we're a product of environment. So my name is Eniton. My mom passed when I was born. So when I was about 4 years old, my dad remarried. My
mm,
stepmom was awesome. She was a school teacher. And all she cared about was literally everybody in the house just need to be A students. So it was kind of easy. My dad was a disciplinarian and she was basically the soft person in the house.
ah,
Do you see what I mean? So she was
mm,
like, never smacked us, never really told us off. It was like, check it out the idea. You know, that sort of stuff. Like when he comes, that's what your son
yes,
did,
yes.
and then, you get the licks and then everything just moves on. Um, do we have the kind of conversations that I have with my children now? No. So I always tell my children all the time and say, my holiday with my dad is being packed up in a van and we're going to Nigeria. And then when we get to Nigeria, we get packed up in another van and we go into Elisha, and that is it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm telling my children that, when you come to this place, it goes, we're going on holiday. The first thing the kids do, they go into like, oh, they don't even have Wi-Fi in the swimming pool. What kind of nonsense is
Uh-oh.
that? And you're just standing there going, what did I tell you about my holidays? And then you have to remind them and just let them understand. So do our parents have it easier? I mean, they didn't have the challenges of the media space and the world being brought around into their phone, into their house every single day.
Mm,
But, it wasn't an easy environment then either, like, they're doing it the way they see fit. I've kind of realized that, they did it their way, basically, and we're doing it our way. But, that stuff about the blueprint that you said, we are a product of our environment, regardless of what we say. The apple doesn't fall far away from the tree. But the thing is, the idea is as we get older, we should be wise enough and understanding enough to take the best or what we perceive as the best to be able to modify, optimize, to be able to do better with what we're doing with our kids, you know, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does make sense. You've nailed it. Ngozi, what about you before we come to Tobere?
Whilst Anita was talking, and he was talking about going on holidays, and I started remembering, you know, my childhood. And I remember my dad teaching me LCM, lowest common multiple. Is that what it is?
Yes, lowest common multiple factor or whatever.
I think so, anyway. And I didn't understand it. And my dad felt that a blackboard, chalk, and cane was the best way to teach me. And we lived in 1004 back then. And I remember when my dad's car pulled up and my sisters were like, "Ah, daddy's back, daddy's back." Ah, Jesus, my heart went. And I thought to myself, ah, this guy is going to go on and on about this work. I don't understand it, you know? But when he came, yes, he disciplined me. Yes, he made sure that this thing was drummed into my brain. It was drummed into my brain so much so that I remember till today. Now, why did I say that? I said that because, yes, the way our parents parented us back then was definitely different. But like Anita said, the biggest factor that's different is that technology. You know, it's the opportunities that technology brings. Right now, technology brings everything to our fingertips. You know, everything. If I need an answer to a question, I go to Google. If I need an answer to something, my children will go on the laptop. They're correcting me sometimes. You know, but back then, my parents they didn't have that. Our parents didn't have that. You know, what they believed in was they go to work, we are at home. If you're not at home, you're at lesson. You know, if you're at lesson, or if
I think we got, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Ngozi?
On mute there.
I think internet.
Ngozi, can you hear us? Seems like you're on mute if you can hear us. Ngozi was only just praising the power of technology. And technology said, look at me in the eyes. You don't know me yet. Yeah, I was just saying you were praising the power of technology. And technology said, let me clap back. Yeah, go ahead.
I know, right? Sorry, I live in a remote place, so our internet is very shaky. I've got my mobile data on and Wi-Fi on, so fingers crossed that will get me through, you know. But yes, so I was saying, you know, that our parents then, what they knew best was what they used to train us. You know, they believed in education. They believed in being the best in school. They believed in sending you to school and doing your schoolwork. We didn't have telly that we would watch in the mornings or in the afternoon. We'd wait till 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the evening. And then when the TV comes on, you don't even dare pick up the remote and say, okay, I'm going to watch my program. What is your program? Nothing like that.
Oh, boy.
With whatever they were watching, you sit down and watch along with them, you know. And then I think of that era, and I think of now, where my children easily pick up the remote. They've got Sky, they've got Netflix, they've got Amazon, they've got what other else
Disney
there
Plus.
is online, everything that they can access, you know. And I think, my God, what we have to control now is a lot more than what our parents had to control. Our parents just gave the authority. I'm going to work. Whilst I'm away, you do your schoolwork, do your homework, you make sure the house is clean. By the time I get back, I don't think they thought about what you do for fun in between, to be honest. Our parents,
probably they thought
I don't
that was
think they
fun
thought
anyway.
about what are you going to get up to. They just knew that Well, exactly. They just thought we'll be in the house, and my sisters will be outside playing different places. As soon as we hear the horn of our mom and our dad turning up, that's it. Everybody runs and resumes position of I'm studying, resume position of, oh, I was just cleaning this or that, and then we look at now, and I think there's too many distractions now for parents, too many things to take on board. Good and bad of it is that, our parents back then, like I said, they parented us because of what they knew at the time. I'm sure if they have what we all know now, they would have done the journey differently.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it goes back to what Ernie said, like he doesn't compare errors, because it's the same with me sometimes. I don't like to do that,
That's
because what
right.
we have at our disposal at the moment, it's not what was there at the time. So I get your point, and you've touched on some real fantastic point. It was your childhood almost looked similar to, although I grew up with my mom, not my dad, but we had male figures in the house that you call uncles. Some of them were my elder brothers, and you heard them coming from junction. Your friends would scream, and your brown, dusty feet, you've been kicking balls barefoot. You would run, wash, think you've dried it, and that man would just walk through your
Wrong.
brother, and he'll be like, "Your toe is wet. Your toe, just your toe," and you'll get it on the back of your head. Tobore, let me come to you. You think they got it easier, your parents, looking back now, how they brought you up and looking now? What do you think? Or you have similar
Well,
stories like Ngozi and Eni?
similar, but I think they did the best with what they knew, the information that they had. Because I remember once talking to my dad recently, but last year or so, yeah, during the lockdown, and I said, you could have done this better, you could have done that better. He said, Tobo, if I had the knowledge, I would have, you know.
Oh,
So I think
wow.
he regrets some of the things he did, but what I've taken as a learning point. So I will make some mistakes as well in my parenting journey. And my prayer is that my kids will do better. So every generation will always do better than the one before them. But the thing is to raise them in such a way that, so I try to raise my children to think about the positive. I'm a very positive person. If I get challenges come up all the time. So for me, when a challenge comes up, the first thing is, how can I resolve this? So I want to raise them that same way. So if we've made a mistake, fine, we've made a mistake, but how can we resolve this? How can we make it better? Let's think fast. Let's not let depression set in or sadness set in and then we lose focus. So let's just do better. And also, it's easier for us to apologize. I apologize to my kids. My parents would never do that. Never.
Again, what you said, just what you said about your dad touched me. I think that was really, I just, it's amazing. He said that if I have the knowledge I have today, I think that's what makes all of us humans. Once we come to that realization, it's what I always tell my younger brothers. I say the information we have today is why we're where we are. If we have more, we'll be better than where we are at the moment. So it's that limited information that we have. If we had more, we'll do better. So yeah, we've had fantastic uh, um, uh, memories about our parents. It was good that we had to look back, because it's not just about our children. We were children once or one time. So it's about looking back and appreciate how we were brought up, so as to see whether that is having influence on the way we do things. You've touched, the next question was going to be about approach, but you've touched on it. But what I was going to ask is amazing that, Ngozi, you've been to Nigeria back and forth with your husband and the children. Annie, you've done same. I don't know if Tobore mentioned that, but I'm going to use the word that we use now, working from home and working 2 days in the office, hybrid. So that I'll call that hybrid way of bringing up children. Do you think that way is good? If you remember this group, this male R&B group from Britain, they call them Blue. If I'm right.
Yeah, I
Blue.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one of the singers, a black
Yeah.
fella from Jamaica, who I read his story one time when he said, now I have money. I take my daughter and I rent the whole cinema out for her and her friends. She was a bit young. I think she was 12 or 13. But he was talking back, he was looking back at his own life. And he said one time in England, he was really acting bad and he was getting into gangs and trouble. And the mom, I think, took him back to the Caribbean. And he said, I got straightened up. And he said, he thanked God for that part of his life. That's what straightened him. So do you think that the hybrid way of bringing children is a benefit? Because for us who have a different background to this place, do you think that helps at all, Ngozi?
Well, I've like my children have had a mix. So the bringing up them in the background, it's a mixture of the two, you know. So recently my children talk about they showed me a TikTok video of a girl saying, if your mom and dad are going to take you back to Nigeria on holiday, you know, make sure you ask them for your return ticket. I said to them, what do they mean by that? You know, and the girl was serious. She said, make sure your parents make sure that they tell you your return dates.
Oh
So
my
my son
gosh.
came and said, Mom, we're going to Nigeria at Christmas. Please, do I have a
That's
do I
big
have a return
influence.
ticket? I said,
Oh,
you do now. You have a return ticket. Don't worry.
wow.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, in terms of the whole raising them the way we've done here, because they've had a mixed background, it's for them, it's no big deal. They when you talk about Nigeria to them, they recognize all the bits, you know, all the things about it. When you talk about, and then when they're going through things here, they can almost relate some of the experiences they've
Ah,
had back home, and that frames the choices, frames the choices they make here because they've got that at the back of their minds. You know, like I said, I don't have to say too much to them because they have that mentality. But then my little toddler, he's born and bred here. He hasn't seen back home, but he sees his older ones and he's feeding off that.
Oh, I see. I see. My young one, I don't think any of them will understand that eyeball to eyeball. If I look at my young one, the 7 year, he's gonna stare back at me and say, "What are you looking at?" He's definitely gonna ask me, "What are you looking at, Dad?" And I'll have to turn my face very quick. You don't get it. My mom used to go like that, the different styles. You will know this is don't touch that person. This is don't eat that food. This
Oh,
is get in
you know
now. This
something
is
good.
yeah.
You go to the supermarket. You go to the supermarket and they're misbehaving. Oh my God.
Oh
And
my
you're
gosh, they don't
thinking,
understand
how
it.
am I going to tell these people to behave? No, 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 no. I switch. Jude, I switch and I start speaking Yoruba to them. And immediately they're like, Mom, you're embarrassing. Mom, you're embarrassing. Mom, stop. You're,
Uh-oh.
you know,
I think that's an
so
added
Timba
advantage. Yeah. I think that's an added advantage if they understand the other language. Jordan Peterson, one of the greatest psychologists, said
It
something
is.
about raising children, and I think I like that. You said something about apologizing to them, Tobore. I do that a lot. In the moment when they're acting up, you can correct them. You can
Yes.
deny them something at that moment, but don't let it
That's right.
go over.
Yes.
Like they said, don't let this song go down on me, that song. Obviously, that's for lovers, but you can use that approach for children. Don't let it go to the next day. You can apologize and say, look, it was for that. But if they don't know what you're linking it to, that denying of something to, then they start thinking, what is happening here? And that's what happened to, I'll use myself as an example, because sometimes you would have played the football when they told you not to kick the football 2 days ago, and they just ignored like they didn't see. Then 3 days after, they're whipping you big time. You're asking, what did I do today? I've been the best of my behavior. And unknown to you, it was a football you kicked like 2 days ago. It was only later you realize, oh, that football saw me. That's why. So you have that resentment kind of setting there. You see. So Tobore, editor, the hybrid, do you think the hybrid form of raising the children, is that why you do it? That's the question I should ask. Is that why you do it, taking them back, or you wanted them to see the other side, or you just it's part of a holiday? Do you think it's helping anything?
Yeah, I mean, I am lucky because my wife is British born Ghanaian as well. So they get to go everywhere. And
Oh,
my father-in-law, when he was alive, he was a farmer, so he had a huge farm.
oh
So
boy,
literally, they've
that's
got no
rich.
choice really, to be
That's
honest.
rich.
Now,
Yeah.
I just think it's you have to embrace who you are. You have to embrace the benefits of the culture that you have because it just makes you a better person. It makes you
Mm.
more
Right.
All
richer,
rounded.
fuller.
That's
You
right.
just have a lot more. So,
Mm.
it's funny, right? So you kind of, my first real experience of having white friends was when I went to university. And
Mm.
the ones I got on most were the ones who've traveled the world with their parents. Does
Mm-hmm.
that make sense? You
Yeah, it
kind of
does.
just see
Mm-hmm.
them. They look at you, they know
Yeah.
your name, they know you're Nigerian, they know
Mm.
you're
Mm.
Yoruba, right? Oh, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm.
like a piece of that jollof rice. I like
Mm.
this, I like
It's
that.
always a
So
jollof rice.
But yeah, but it's not just. So I had a lecturer who was
no,
just the
I
most.
was just going to say, Tom, that
Yeah.
the reason why they are that way to you is because they've seen it. You know, when there's ignorance, it's difficult for them to relate. But once they understand and they've seen, and that's why the ones that are traveled, they've seen parts of the world,
Yeah.
you know, and they're starting to understand and starting to understand that people are different. People have different cultures and they appreciate that. And that's why you were able to be friends and they were able to be friends with you. You know, I think it's that ignorance that causes that. Sorry, I just
No,
wanted to
but
say
you know,
that.
it's a good point. And you know, so I think, yeah, it's great. You know, do I take the kids a lot as much as I should? Maybe not, because obviously,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
because the parents are not here anymore, and you know that whole drive of going to Nigeria and all that
Yeah,
sort of
it's
stuff.
not there. It's
It's, you
reduced.
know,
Yeah.
it takes it away a little bit. But you know, ultimately, like, you know, the kids like it. You know, they even think I overhype it. You know, because when you go back, you're kind of still setting them up to sort of make sure that some semblance of
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
normality,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
they can still
yeah,
eat
yeah,
their
yeah,
chips, they can still go to
yeah,
God,
yeah,
what's what,
McDonald's and that
yeah,
stuff.
whatever that place, Domino's, Debonair's, and all this
Yeah, yeah,
nonsense.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
still providing all that stuff,
Yes,
right? You
yes,
know what I
yes.
mean? Like, you know, so I remember the last time we went to Nigeria, I got really short with my daughter because I think she was what? She was 12, and she got bored of eating yam and omelette in the morning. And I'm going, what? I'm going, mate, seriously? There's like about 12 eggs in there. They don't even eat 12 eggs out here all the time. What's the matter with you? You know, but then, you know, like forget that the console, the brioche and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. And I got really short with that. But, you know, going back to what Joe said, I do apologize to my children a lot, but I don't do it immediately because obviously, like, you know, you want them to
Yeah.
understand that when
Yeah.
you do get upset with them, it's because they have genuinely done something. And you know, I used to tell my children, goes, the licks I got, like my dad didn't even have time. I mean, he's got 4 boys. Yeah, he just doesn't need to start explaining too much. You know what I mean? Like he just tells you once, bam, bam.
Bye.
And like you said to me, like even that stuff where you do something and he just tells you you're going to get that, and then you think 2 weeks later you've not got anything, that he's forgotten, and then you do something so minor, and then the whole thing comes back.
The whole
But
thing, the whole shebang comes back.
yeah,
Yeah.
I so my
That's
dad
another
retired.
form of parenting.
Yeah, my dad retired back to England when he finished, and he had 20 years before he sort of passed away. So he
Oh,
didn't
sorry to
change.
hear that.
He just tells me all the time, I am an African man. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
That's it. And
Straight up.
I am my own father's son.
Son.
Yeah. In my own house, I'm the president, minister of
Yes,
defense,
so.
finance, everything. If
That's
you don't
right.
like it,
That's right.
do you know what I mean? And my dad always tells me,
That's right.
if you don't like it, you're born in England, get out. So when I was 18, I moved out because I just thought, oh my God, I
Exactly.
can't be dealing with this.
Oh,
But he
yeah.
basically made it clear to me and goes, no, I pay my own house, I pay my own rent, and I don't ask you for a penny. That is the way I
That's
want it to
right.
be done. And if you don't like it, you're in England, you're British
Bye.
born, get out. So, you know, he didn't do it as a sort
Pack
of
your bags
malice.
and go.
Yeah, he didn't do it as malice. He's just trying to say to you, goes, Omo, son of a hunter dies a hunter. That's the way it is. You don't like it, get out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you
But
know,
you know, he knew he was wiser. He was wiser. He knew more. He knew that out
I think
there is a jungle.
yes,
You want to go and see what the jungle is like?
Go
Pack
test
and
it.
go.
go test it. You know what I mean? You know, so I genuinely think we are absolutely blessed to have that upbringing, because what it does is it makes us a survivor. It really does. Because you
Definitely.
know,
Okay.
the thing is,
Okay.
like,
That's an
there's a lot of
advantage.
things, that you sort of, not to say, so I have two other brothers who didn't come to Nigeria at all. They're equally doing great for their kids. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And it's a different way. They
mm.
talk a lot more. They have family. You know, when things happen, you know, we went there one day. We're all gonna go. They're all excited. We get there. They're having a family meeting, and I'm standing there thinking, Jesus, it's like watching Jerry Springer and stuff. You know, do you know what I mean? But I learned. I realized that actually the outcome was exactly the same than raising your blood pressure and looking at your heart rate go up to 140 because you're
Mm,
absolutely spitting feathers over something they've done that is wrong.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And the children are different, like you said, Ngozi, which is really important. You know, that personality thing. So because I work in marketing, I do a lot of insights.
yeah.
I insight my children all the time. So whenever I
Mm.
get a chance to get insight process, I just give it to my daughter because I want you to try and fill this thing in. When she comes back, I go to her, goes, you know what? These are the things you like. So my daughter, basically, education-wise, no problem. But she is so ghetto black. It's unreal. So you know what I mean? Like if you see her, you think she grew up in like, I don't even know where. You think that she grew up in Ojuelegba. I mean, literally everything that it's so weird is what she likes, you know. So personality-wise, you know, she's respectful. She's everything.
I respect that you said. I respect that you said that the personality thing. I think
Yeah.
it played up too when we were growing up because you would
Mm,
hear from some people tell me, What's your favorite child?" But not that's not
yeah.
it.
It's not.
That's not what it was.
Yeah.
Parents then would say, "I like this one. I like that one for this and that." I think they were
Mm-hmm.
trying in their
Mm-hmm.
own ways too to gauge what personality that they will tell you. Oh,
Yeah.
this one, oh my God, this one is so quiet. This one eats a lot. It's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be a
Yeah.
giant. So they were
Yeah.
Yeah.
in their own ways doing that. So,
Yeah.
but coming to you, is your story similar? Why? I know your kids are very young, and I was gonna
Yeah.
scare you a bit. They're 2 and 4, you said.
And
2, 4, and
six.
6.
I
Six.
was gonna scare you a bit, so I think you've already had the experience of the 6. When it gets to 7, is it 7? Is it 6 a boy or a girl?
A girl.
It makes no difference. They're going to start talking back, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, ask you questions. Oh my gosh,
Why?
they'll ask you 201 million
Yeah,
questions, and I tell you the truth, they'll try to answer them because they won't back down.
Mm.
Trust
definitely.
me.
So
So
that's one
yes,
thing I know to do. I know to answer every question. So when I said apologize, what I mean is, for example, there was a time I got shot with her. She did something, I got shot with her. And then I looked at her and she was upset. So I turned around and I said, why are you angry? You did this, and then I told you off. And then she went, no, mommy, you misunderstood. I was actually doing this. I was like, oh, really? Okay, I didn't realize. I'm sorry. And then that was the end of that. So that conversation would never have gone that way with my parents. So that's what I mean by when I apologize. Not that I apologize. If they do something wrong, they get punished for that. Then I don't apologize for that. They get punished for. So everything has a consequence. That's what I try to teach them. Everything has a consequence. But the one thing I really don't like, which is why I also want them to visit Nigeria quite a bit, is that thing of what's the word I'm looking for? They feel
entitled.
and thank you, that's the word. It was in and then I lost it. That sense of entitlement,
Mm.
I don't like it. And I want, so sometimes, when I put food down and they say, oh no, I don't want this, I want this. And I'm like, do you know some children don't have any
Oh,
food? You know some children are not going to get breakfast? Because I
That's
deal with all
right.
these children that I have women telling me we've not eaten for days, we've been drinking Gary. And I'm like, some children are drinking Gary and you have this in front of you and you're telling me you don't want it, you want something else. No, you will eat that. That's the only thing we have, So I'm trying to get them to understand and appreciate whatever they have. And I try to tell them, look, I'm working, mommy's working. When mommy has money, mommy has to save, mommy has to do this. So I can do this for you today, but I can't. So I'm trying to teach them. I don't want them to feel whatever they want, they'll just have it just like that. No, that's not how life works. So I'm trying every day. I'm learning, I'm unlearning, I'm relearning. Even from this meeting, I'm going to take away some
Right.
points that I'm going to add to my bank because I want to just make sure that I raise healthy individuals that love life, that will make an impact in their world, will be a blessing to whoever they eventually marry, if that's what they want to do, but that they will have a well-rounded life and they will make people around them happy. So when they come into contact with people, they leave them happy that they've met them. And that's just what I want for them. I just want them to be happy. In our time, our parents wanted us to be either lawyers, doctors, or accountants. But thankfully, over time, we have seen that, yeah, you can be an actress, you can be a footballer, you can be all
so
these
much.
things. So yeah, so now, instead of just going, you must get A's in your maths, English, I'm now trying to find out what else do you like to do? I'm trying to get them involved in sports, in coding, in learning other languages, just to see that, find out what they want to do. Whereby in our time, I have a lot of friends who we've all studied something. I studied pharmacy as my degree, but I'm now working as a HR consultant. So, a lot of people just did things because that was what you were told to do. So now I don't want to raise my children that way. I want them to do what they want to do. So I'm trying to find out from them, see what they're good at, see what they like, and raise them just to be happy. I just want them to be happy. I think that's just the bottom line.
I think you said it. We're learning every day as we go along. We learn, we unlearn. That's what it is about human. That's where I'm at. That's what I do with my life. I learn from people. I hear people speak, and I take things, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And when I'm open to new information, I'm not ashamed to say, oh my God, it's the first time I'm hearing that. And I take it quick, and I go do my own study and my research. And the next time I come back to discuss about that, I'm like, okay, and I get the gist. But looking at us, I'll say we've done well. So yeah, go
I
on.
was just going to say, in addition to what you just said,
Mm.
Sometimes, you know, when our children, even when we're learning from, you know, outsiders, or we learn online or from situations, sometimes we actually learn from our children.
Oh, a
You know,
lot.
sometimes it's the things or the response that they give us, you know, the response that they give us that
Yeah,
will
yeah,
make
yeah,
us
yeah,
then
yeah,
think that,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah,
actually, that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Yeah.
it's so important. I like the way we've had this conversation today, because one of the things we've said is about apologizing to our children. My parents, they did not, even if they were wrong, they won't apologize. They will
Who
find
told
Yeah.
a
you?
way
Who
Yeah.
told you they were
to
wrong? Who
kind
told you
of
they were wrong?
Yeah.
justify what they've
Who
They'll
said they were
never.
wrong?
They'll never.
They were never wrong.
exactly,
Oh.
exactly. Then the other thing is that, you know, the whole concept of showing love, the way my parents showed love
Yes,
was not
that's
by
key.
come for a cuddle, come now, come, let me cuddle you, or
Mm.
they say, I love you, or no, we didn't do all that. I think in my grown stage, maybe like when we came on one of our holidays from Nigeria, and my parents, my siblings, they went with us to the airport and everything. Maybe one occasion, I said to my dad, will you even hug me? I'm going back.
Okay.
Okay. Reluctantly. But I don't think in the time I was growing up, there was anything like I would say to my children now, can I get a cuddle, please? A cuddle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I get a kiss? Cuddle
Yeah.
me. You know, so there is a
Yeah.
lot of things that back then they just were like, eh. Then my sister, when we're talking about career, like Tobera was saying, my sister said, I'm going to study sports science and sports therapy. My
Yeah.
dad was like, what is that?
Yeah.
What what is sports science? They don't make money in sports science and therapy. He's like, what is that? And I remember there was uproar in the house, and he was like, no, you can't study that. That's not something that is, you know, heard of. That's not okay. Now she's an occupational therapist. They're always calling. What do I need to do for this? What do I
Yeah.
need to do for?
Yeah.
They're calling and asking her these questions. And I'm thinking, but back then you were like, so it's so obvious that, you know, all these things that we have at our disposal now, if they had it or got to know about it, they probably would have reacted differently. I
Yes,
also
yes,
like
yes.
what Tobre was saying about relearning and learning. You know, it's just telling us that the whole raising our children in this 21st century is a very intentional thing. We just have to be intentional about every step we take. When our children are short, or when we're short of our children, how we respond to them is key. You know, how we respond to our children when they are faced with situations. Recently, we've been faced with a situation with my son and his school, and my first impulse or reaction was to be like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. But then I've got to realize that he's growing. He's going to make his own mistakes. He's going to learn from his own mistakes, but I'll guide him. And I keep reminding, the only thing I did was to remind him that the only people that have got your backs is me and your dad, fully. As in, we will die there. Whatever it is, we've got your back. So whatever it is, we will deal with it, you know. But it's just so interesting that back then parents just didn't apologize, and now we are doing apology. We are, you know, there's a lot of sentiment around it.
It's the best information they had at the time. Anyway, before we go any further, viewers at home,
Yeah,
this is us, and you've been watching us discuss raising kids in the 21st century. Hit the subscribe button, like button, and share as far as wide as you can. And on Spotify, you can go listen to the podcast. You can download it as you cook, right, in the kitchen, make your coffee, do anything. Working from home, just put it in the background. It's very good. I'll tell you, you will laugh and cry at the same time. Trust me. Ngozi, what you said is amazing about what our parents did about the apologizing and how they showed love. I think for me, they would overfeed me at the time to show you love, give you more. Your plate will be more than the others. That's the love. And learning from the children, you emphasize on what Tobero was saying. It is very key. My middle boy, my middle boy, I think is the reason why I learned how to say I love you back. Fact. My wife will tell you, maybe since we were married, we've been together since 2005. She could count how many times I've said that I love you back. Even when she said it, I love you, I don't respond. I don't even know what's that. I just walk out. Well, she knows this man loves me. That's it. But my middle boy, man, that guy would go into school in the morning with like hug and love you. That I'm like, okay. At first it was strange, and later I picked it up, and I'm even now I still feel it when I say it. I feel the reluctance in me to say love you back, but not reluctance in the sense, but As he says it, me replying, I'm reflecting on it. I'm taking my time, making sure that I mean it. I'm not just saying it as a cliche. Oh, well, we've
Can I
talked.
just say something? Can I
Mm,
just say something there?
yeah, yeah, go
So
ahead.
my husband's nephew is around.
Mm,
So just before we came on live, I was
mm.
coming downstairs and my daughter said to me, "Oh, mommy, I love you." I said, "Oh, I love you too, darling." Then my son said it, and then the last baby said it. And then he said to me, "Oh, for a Nigerian child to tell you I love you means they want something or they've done something wrong." I said, no, not my babies. I said, they tell me all the time. So he, as an older boy, he felt they had done something wrong or they wanted something. But I said to him, no, it's for these ones, this generation, it's normal. They tell me this all the time because I tell them. So for me,
Exactly.
I'll just be walking past. They just tell me, "Mommy, I love you. I love you too." So they know that. And even when we fight, I say to them, "You know, I love you, right? You know, you just upset me, and that was why we did this. But you know that my love for you will nothing changes that." So I keep on constantly reassuring them of my love for them. And then I've asked them, "Who is mommy's favorite?" They will say, "All three of us. There's no favorite. I
Children,
love all
children
of
are
them."
amazing. Children are
Yes.
very amazing. As they grow, they're still forming. They're going through the stages, the different stages. Look, I'll quickly quote the scripture. Yeah, Jesus said you have to be like them to make heaven. And the way I look at that scripture is this: my little boy, the 7-year-old, he knows how to press buttons, man. If he presses your button, my gosh, they will hear you screaming a canon from here. So I will watch this guy from a distance. It really gets you right off, and the next minute he forgets about it and he's asking you to get him something in the fridge. In my head, I'll be like, "Did you just get me angry? I should go get you water in the fridge." In my head, I'm like,
Yeah.
this one get the nerve. So you see,
Yeah.
that's why we must not let the sun go down or whatever. Anyway, we've
Mm.
talked about all of this beauty. Now, let's go into the nitty gritty
That's
before we
right.
call it a day. What are our fears and concerns in this country where we live, the four of us live in the UK, with regards to gang, gang affiliation, knife crime, and racism? How do we
Mm.
go around this? Are we afraid when we let our boy child, especially, and now the girl child, when we hear that the girls do carry knives in their bag for some of the boys? Recently, a friend of mine and his daughter had a talk because the mom found the e-cigarette in her bag, and she took it to the husband, who was my friend, and he said, "Hey, how come you got this in your bag?" And she said, "So and so gave it to me to give to the friend." And my friend was a bit not too happy with it. And when he told me, I said, "Okay, this is the way you do it next time. Let them know. And when you go into the airport, they tell you, they advise you, do not take anything from anyone because it might just be somebody giving you drugs to get across, and you might
Yeah.
be in trouble." So that guy giving you the e-cigarette could be a pen knife. You don't know what is it. Don't take it. Just say, "No, I cannot do it. Go do it yourself." Before you know, you become a courier or a peddler, like any described the peddlers group. Sorry for that. Sorry
That's
for that.
absolutely,
Sorry for that
that's,
comparison.
that's
So
absolutely
how
fine.
do we as parents, deal with these concerns with regards to gangs and gang affiliation? And I'm happy that you've set up these groups to look into this, especially because the cross country group is good. You're getting uh, feelers from people abroad and getting here. And tomorrow you're working in Nigeria with these people, so you're getting different stories and different backgrounds. So it's not just the status quo. How do you deal with these concerns with regards to racism and especially the knife crime amongst our community? And just give us some ways you want us to address this going forward. I'll go with you, Annie.
Let's be open with them. I think it's not good for you to sort of hide away from the realities of life,
That's
right?
right.
Mm, mm,
I think,
okay.
Shielding.
yeah, I think
Mm.
you just got to let them know, this thing is it's going back to that stuff about values, about trying to contribute to the world and not
Mm,
just look at it as themselves.
Mhm.
My dad used to tell me a lot, the car can't move without four wheels, doesn't matter how expensive it is. So we're four in my, and we were not even four in my family. There were just four kids. He was just telling us that the four of you need to get it going, right? So, I just think,
Mm.
it's obviously been a traumatic couple of years, really. Like, even though you're kind of shying away from some conversations and you don't want to
mhm,
have those conversations, but
mhm,
the conversation
mhm,
has come to you
mhm,
by the power of George Floyd, rest his
mhm.
soul. I've had to have an open conversation with my children just to let them understand that, look, this is the reality. My dad told me straight away, when I went to Nigeria, and goes, you're going back to Nigeria, that's it, no more cornflakes, eggs, and everything. You're going to meet your own people and they will make a man of you. they would tear you alive, or that
Mm,
butter would melt.
mm.
When I landed in my boarding school, within 3 days, I actually understood what he was talking about, thinking, Jesus Christ, I am going to be, he made a man of me, right? And then you come back to England, and then, you have all the people who, I had cousins who they used to laugh at my accent when I came back.
Oh
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Because they stayed out here, but now you look at them and think, okay, how does it work for you with your
I got
accent?
something that you don't
Do
have.
you know what I mean? How does it work for you? Because now they're the ones, every time you look at their Insta posts, they're more social media, they're more whiskey, more everything. You see more about Nigeria on their posts now, even though then,
Ah, yeah,
do you
yeah,
see what I
yeah.
mean? Because they're
Yes,
more
That's
Nigerian
correct.
than us. They love
yeah,
it more than us, right?
yes,
Look,
yeah.
gang affiliation is serious. I think most
Mm,
of us have been lucky enough that we grew up and we had our formative years in both countries. You
Mm,
can
mm-hmm,
really just try and talk to them and just let them understand. Thing
mm,
is, one of the good things about Nigeria is you see people and you kind of look at them and goes, come, who's that boy? Stay away from him.
mm-hmm,
That,
mm-hmm.
don't want to know. Just, oh, he's my, no, just stay away.
Straight up, straight up.
Just, I don't like that one. Too much gra. Please keep him at bay. Or you look at him head to toe, you just think, wow, man's
he's
looking like a,
bad for you.
yeah, he's looking $1 million. Is that the football? Is that the surgeon? Is that the president? So what's going on there? Stay away from him. So you try. I'm. It's always difficult, So because I had a daughter first, I was so happy. My dad used to tell me
Same,
this
yeah.
special. My dad used to tell me all these special things about why he. My dad had no daughters.
Oh
And
yeah.
so even after he had the four of us, he married again and he had two extra
Oh.
boys. He didn't have any daughters, so he always tell me that, they're special people, not only because of the fact that, they mean they're the ones that reproduce what becomes us, but there is something about girls is different. My daughter was easy. My son, hard work. But
Mm,
I understand because me, myself, I was hard work, right?
mm,
So you just got to bring yourself down to that level and let
Yep.
him understand that, look, so he sits down with me and make sure he watches the 6 o'clock news. That 3-4 years ago, where we had a really terrible time of all these kids, 14,
mm,
stabbing.
mm, mm, mm,
Sit
mm.
him down and say to him, that's why we do not need that.
Mhm.
Because you might think you're protecting yourself, you pull it out, before you know it, or your own protection on you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it will devastate us
Spot on.
completely. So when we
Spot on.
lost the granddads, both the granddads on both my
Mm,
father-in-law, my dad, the devastation for us, for them as
mm,
young as they were, to see how gutted we were. And
mm,
then you saw us, like, look at, they were in their 80s, you know what I mean? And we're still gutted. It will be devastating for us if it happens to you. So please, 2 ears,
Mm,
2 eyes, 1 mouth. Use them in proportion. Look, listen, speak, all in proportion so that you're doing the right thing. It's about trying to really give them those things. So, when you're lucky enough, you sort of stay linking, you see something about parenting, about a TED Talk that is really nice. You quickly go straight on there, find it, sit everybody down and say, I want us to watch this TED Talk for 5 minutes. If you see
spot on.
if they're not interested, you play it again. Do you know what I mean? Like literally.
Repetition, the
yeah.
power
And
of
yeah,
repetition.
you
Ungozi
just
said
keep,
it earlier.
just play it again and play it again and play it again and play it again. I think, almost that gratification that I think it was Jorah that mentioned it earlier about the fact that they think everything, there's no gratitude, they just want it now. I almost play that game on them because you listen to this for me and you write me a page letter about what you just heard. That Jordan trainers, it might just be in the pack next birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, they're on it,
See them
in there,
acting.
proper.
You then see you then
That's
know your
right.
son, your daughter is a poet or an
Yeah,
author.
get me exactly. Before you know it, now they are getting a special writer of the month.
Tell me
Because
about it.
literally, not only did they write it for me, they take it to school and submit it,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
good. I
yeah.
think the reality of that stuff is, not to steal the thunder of anybody, and nobody knows how to do this. Is there's an element of luck, but we have to
Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
have to make that
yeah.
preparation. I think
That's right.
most of us, yeah, we have to make that preparation and
Luck is key.
really try and just try the best. Like we used to go to church every Sunday and everything, and I was still a naughty boy when I was growing up. So
Uh-huh.
I don't force my children to go to church every Sunday, but we have to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
church.
yeah,
We have to make church once a month, right? To
yeah.
say, right, I know that it's difficult and you guys don't really enjoy that, but for once a month, let's make church so that we all can get that sort of blessing from a pastor that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
they ask you questions.
You're fellowshipping as well with other
Yeah,
people.
you know what I mean? Because why do we need to do that? It's such a trek. Why can't we just go to the local church? And like, yeah, sometimes we go to the local church. Sometimes we need to listen to Pastor Matthew, give us those African stories,
You
and
know what I mean?
build it for us.
They pick one or two out of it.
Exactly, and then they can
do.
get stuff. And because sometimes you look at them and they're laughing, which means they are listening to that stuff and thinking, oh my God, it's like listening to Daddy, but from somebody else saying it. Do you see what I mean? You know, so my wife is so calm. You know, she was a mental health trained nurse. She became a psychologist. Now she works as a contractor, and it's kind of like she's so calm, where she can just pull our kids and sit them down and just basically give the drilling in them and look at them, and I think a thunder has hit them. It's better than my shouting, right? So you know, I'm like,
somebody has to do the shouting.
Do you know what I mean? So somebody, you know, so bad cop, good cop, but we just got to keep talking to our children, okay, about the pitfalls of the advantages. Yeah. About the advantages that they have. Thank you.
You've said it all. Tobor, I'm going to come to you with the same question before I wrap it up with Ngozi. So this concerns about racism and the gangs. Are you worried? What are your preparation for it? What are you and your husband doing to ensure all of this works well at the end of the day?
So I thought about it. So for the gangs, why do children join gangs? Why do women let themselves be victims of abuse? Maybe because of low self-esteem. So which is why the first thing is making sure that my children know they are loved, making sure they're appreciated, making sure they know they're the best in everything they do, make sure that they feel good about themselves. So they're not looking for that validation from others. They don't need to join a gang. And my daughter, in the car the other day, I was carrying my daughter and her friend said, oh, I'm going to have a horrible holiday. And my daughter said, I'm going to have a horrible holiday. And I said, stop right there. First of all, why are you copying what she said? Second of all, why do you think you're going to have a horrible holiday? You're going to be with me. Why will it be horrible? You do not say what someone else says just because somebody else said it, you know? So I had a long talk with her about that. So I just don't want them to do what everyone else is doing. Don't just copy people. Be your own person. And because I learned that is why I've come this far, because at some point in my life, I've been the only one standing, you know, and I've had to be able to say, no, I am enough. So I need them to be able to know that they are enough. So that's what I'm working on for that. And the second thing regarding racism, you know, I've experienced it quite a bit. I've been called all sorts to my face. And I just thought, well, I'm not that, so don't worry about it, you know? So I want them to, and I keep on telling my daughter, not everyone will like you for you, but you have to just learn to just know that not everybody will love you, but you're still okay. You know, you're still enough. You're still a good person. So don't think everyone has to like you, because she experiences some of that. So I keep on having those discussions with them. And I do worry for them, but I know I cannot keep them in my house forever. So I'm just trying to prepare them so that when they go in, they're able to deal with these sorts of emotions. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tobor. Ngozi, same questions. How will you deal with it?
Okay. Well, with regard to gang, I'll just say this now. My children, I've made them so aware of it that now I hear them. The other day they were talking to my sister on the phone, and I heard them saying, Auntie, you know what? If we want to get our mummies back up, when we are talking to you, we'll just put in these keywords: gang, drug, gone. And mommy's ears will be like, what did you just say? What did you just say? You know, and you know, those are the sort of things that I've been lamenting. You know, as soon as it comes on the news, we sit together. Come and listen to this. My husband sees videos. We've made a conscious decision that we're not going to shield them. We're going to show it, and we're going to discuss it. It's not going to be a taboo thing to be saying these things in our house. You know, freely talk about it. Freely, we're going to talk about this. Freely, we're going to try and make sense of it. Freely, we're going to try and, you know, discuss these things, have an opinion on it, and understand that, okay, this is our stand on this. And the prayer is that when they do go out there, those are the sort of things that rings in their heads, you know, whilst they're there. Now, with regards to racism, my children have experienced racism from a very young age. In their primary school, it started from their primary school, where children had called, a child had called my son Chocolate and decided that my son's name was Chocolate, you know, and said, oh, hello, Chocolate. And I said to Jacob, why is he calling you Chocolate? Is that your name? you know, and that's the beginning of where we started having conversations about racism.
Very
You
early.
know, the only thing we've learned along this journey is that, you know, we don't want to bang on about racism. I don't want the existence to be that because you are Black, this is what it is. Because you are Black, we really don't want to do that. And I ensure that it's, you know, they understand that in everywhere they go to, in everything that they do, the mark they leave should be a mark of, okay, I am Jacob Lawal. I'm a son of this person, or a son to this woman, you know, but this is who I am. This is what I'm good at. This is the things that I'm good at. Know me for who I am rather than the color of my skin. Those are the sort of things that we try to teach them. It's not easy, but racism is there. And I think the important thing is that we just have to talk about these things with our children. You know, when things are happening in the news, we can't afford to shield them from it. If they see these things, and if we talk about it, when they go out there, those conversations you have in your homes, they will remember it. When they're out there, they will remember those conversations. They will try and make the choices around what the value system they have, the value system we instill in our children.
Yeah.
That's my take on this.
If I want to, thank you very much.
So much for this
if I want to quote the Bible again, it says, teach the child the way it should grow. And when they grow, they won't depart from it. It's everything you all have said. Yeah, Ennis hit on the values and ethics. You've hit on it. Reputation. Tobora has talked on it. We talk about these things all the time. And they go out there, it keeps ringing in their head. I know a man who says when he started working in Nigeria, and somebody came with a bribe, and all he could hear was his dead father's voice in his head. You know the son of who you are. Like, it was audible to him. That was what stopped him. And it is the same with all of us. If we dig deep down, those voices come back and say, my mom used to say, don't chase money. And when she calls me for money when she was alive, I'll be like, you say don't chase money by all means, and now you want money. Which one is it now? Tell me. So all of this, you go that way and you don't depart from it. Fantastic. Viewers at home, we'll be discussing raising a child in the 21st century. This is very fantastic because I picked up a lot. Tobore talked about low self-esteem and appreciation for your children and love. Apologies, I'm looking down because I had to take notes. And not seeking validation from others. Very, very valid. Even as an adult, I've been dealing with that. Only recently I'm fighting back and saying, no, your definition of me is not me. I'm going to define myself when I wake up, but I'm struggling with that. Imagine our children. If me, an adult, a grown-up bearded guy like Abraham is struggling with that, what do you think of a child who is still forming, going through the developmental stages? They go out there and see that, and they form all of these ideas. So that's very, very important. No, do not seek validation from others. Parents at home, please, you're listening, talk to your children, not to seek validation from others. I appreciate them. I appreciate them a lot. And Ngozi, you talked on so many things, like do not shield them from these gang things. For us, we don't watch TV. We don't watch terrestrial TV. We've done this because it was affecting me, not the kids or my wife. I woke up every morning before 6 o'clock. I would have put the TV on before I go, and it was just all bad news. And it was making me so angry. And I realized that was why my blood pressure was going up. I had to decide and stop TV. For 15 years plus, we haven't watched terrestrial TV. But only recently, I decided to bring my children into this gang thing when a 14-year-old boy was recently stabbed to death not far from us in Tesco in Woolwich, front of Tesco in Woolwich. It was really bad. I had to show them why we talk the way we talk. But TV aside, they hear me talk all the time about these things with friends, with other concerned parents who have children. So I'm hopeful, with a bit of luck, like Annie said in the beginning, just now, that they will take all of those things that we talk about. You talk about freely talking about all of this, which is very fantastic. You spoke about the racism part, and because I liked what you said there. You don't want it to be about that, about your color, and that's the position I've taken as well. I don't want to harm it because I'm of the opinion that if somebody keeps telling me I'm oppressed because of this, one day I'm just going to believe all of that. I don't want to be in that position anymore. So that's another fantastic position. But I'm going to wrap it up with this, with what Annie said, and I stole that, and I think I'm going to take that as my slogan. He said, look, listen, and speak. You've got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a mouth. Look, listen, and speak. And that's not just for the children. It's for us as parents. Parents out there watching us, it's for you, it's for their kids. Look, listen, and speak. So when you look as parents, that means you're observing your children. When the children look, they're observing their environment. And when you listen as parents, you're listening to your children. The children listen. They listen to everything around there, what is happening. Uncle is talking there, auntie is talking there, cousins are talking, friends are talking, and they're filtering this. And then you speak. Because when you look, listen, speak, what does that make you? It gives you the opportunity to have an informed decision or informed response to what is being said. So on that note, we're going to wrap it up today. We've actually gone beyond time. Thank you if you stayed with us. I thought it was just too interesting to live. It's not just because it was fun to have people like this, beautiful people like this to discuss with, but this is very, very key discussion in our community. And I think we're going to revisit this because it is very, very vital that we continue to do this. Because like me, I've learned a lot, and I believe my kids have watched this. They'll know, oh, dad was lying there. Dad just took a pokey. Don't do that. But Auntie Ngozi said it, so I'll pick it up from there. Or Uncle Eni said it, or Auntie Tobere said it. So we all learn it. Trust me. Because sometimes I'm just so in my word and I forget. So you brought me back to remembrance, and I hope that's the same for people who've joined us this evening. If you've just joined us, we've just discussed raising a child in the 21st century. Thank you very much, Eni. Thank you very much, Ngozi. Thank you very much, Tobere. This is our first time together virtually, and it's like we've known each other for 100 years. I think the rope that ties all of us is because of the children. We're all parents, so and we're all Nigerians as well. So on that note, I'm going to say good night, everyone. Until next week, this is us. Bye bye now.
Bye bye.